Hi guys, I'm Danny, and I started a Sunday gym because I've noticed lately that people tend to go to colleges and universities without actually knowing why they're there. Afterwards, starting jobs that are unfulfilling. So I'm interviewing different professionals to see what they have to say and share their knowledge and experience with you. I hope you enjoy it. Right on, Leslie. Good morning, good evening. How are you doing today?
Better and better every day in every way. Thanks for having me on, Denny.
Thank you for being with me, as it should be better and better every day. Program will be focused on three main questions. What do you do for a living? How did you get there? And how did you know that this was the way to go? So tell us what you do for a living, please.
Okay, for right now, I guess I finally stepped into the title, but I am an author and I've written 6 books but I've always been a writer. But now I'm finally stepping into it and owning it.
And that's pretty fascinating. Where you're like walking on the street one day and you're like, let me write 6 books right here. Or did something else so did something else led to that path?
Well, something else led to that path. So I actually was a career and executive life coach for 14 years. So my whole life was kind of leading up to that path
I
to
mean, you
get.
look kind of 16, so
I love that. You're so
yeah.
great for saying that. Every woman wants to hear that, Denny.
So I guess you started early.
I did. I was a child bride. I always like to joke, but no, really. No, I started when I was in my early 20s, when I was about 23. And during that time in 2008, there was the global recession. So if you
I
remember that,
know.
when we were all poor. My husband said, hey, there's a lot of people who need coaching right now through my work. And he even got laid off. And he said, it's a thing called a coach. Have you heard of it? And I said, no. So I had just finished my undergrad. I studied international affairs and comparative politics. My goal was to go to law school. But at that time, there was no way that I was going to take $200,000 in student loans to go to law school. So I learned how to coach people. I learned how to help people write their resumes. So I started doing that. I got very lucky. I started working with mayors of towns and people who were in the beginning of their career and help them at the most vulnerable times in their life, coaching them, helping them make more money, finding direction, overcoming adversity. And that developed over 14 years. And I grew a clientele all by word of mouth. No internet marketing. There was no Instagram,
Yeah, back
YouTube.
then there wasn't.
YouTube wasn't really a thing at that time. So it was
Uh,
really word
colleague
of
of
mouth.
mine was joking about it. Imagine somebody being in like a hardcore prison for 20 years, and now they're getting out of jail and they thinking how many friends they have on MySpace.
Exactly. I had a MySpace account. Okay. I'm dating myself here, but
I had, but I don't remember it.
oh, I remember. The top, what is it? The top 8?
I
Do you remember
really
that?
don't remember. I'm sure that I've had MySpace like last year in high school, I think.
Oh, I
And
was in college. I'm a little older than you.
for I couldn't tell.
So yeah, so I evolved all this experience in helping people and I developed tools and techniques and worksheets. And because of that, after 14 years, I was like, I need to put all this into one space because I keep getting asked the same questions over and over again. So I wrote different books and put all my experience into different books. And one of them is It Pays to Be You, which is a workbook. And it tells you how to step by step build a career, how to find a job, how to write a resume, how to call people, how to network, how to brand yourself. And I wrote about money psychology. That was the other thing people had problems with. So I wrote the money formula.
Make sure they're on eBay or Amazon or something. Make sure you
Yes.
send me the links because I want to put them in the description below. You know, when somebody's watching it, they might like it or so and so on and so forth. And my third question is, how did you knew that this was the way to go? And the reason I'm asking is because you kind of covered it, right? But you know, a lot of people are going to those colleges, universities. They are not really for that kind of stuff. And I'm not insulting them, or I'm just not. But you know, it's not always. your thing, and they're just going over there because that stigma. You have to have a diploma to fix your life, which it hasn't been true for about 25, 30 years now.
Right.
And they lose a lot of time. Now,
Right.
in all fairness, every person has lost some time, right? We're all losing our time with something. But I'm
Right.
talking about 4 to 6, even more years to a young person. And I know this, I mean, it's always shocking because when I talk to people from the States, I kind of have like a mini heart attack when I hear the amount of money people are about to spend to university. I went to a private college. I
Okay.
could have went to a state college. I didn't. I went to a private college. I don't remember how much I paid for it, but I was a bartender. And I paid the whole thing with my bartender salary, and I still had enough money to spend on my, bills and everything. And that was the
Yeah.
private college.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a butler for the Buckingham Palace. It was a local pub. I didn't have a lot of money. So, but still, I've lost money, you've lost money, everybody lost money. All right? And it's part of life. And that's how you go. But when you lose between 4 and 6 years of your life, especially when you're young, you grew up with something and you get in the real world. Because college, that's not real world. That's like a lovely simulation that has but not to do with reality, indeed.
Yeah.
And when you go out, you have and by when I say you, I don't mean you, Leslie, but just the way I talk, right?
Yeah. People.
And you have this, and they have this like internal self-esteem because of the diploma, which is totally false. And yet they're miserable because they're doing something that's not for them. I can tell you doing something that's definitely for you. You went to all that experience. You coached people and you coached them because you wanted to. There's no way you can do something like that if you're not a people's person. You already had it in you. You knew, and of course, correct me
Right.
if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So you kind of had that figured out. Yeah, that was new for you because that was new for everybody. Nobody had coaching before that.
Right.
But how did you knew that this was the way to go? Was it a gut feeling? I understand it. Your husband told you about it. But then again, you had those social skills within you. You could have done a lot of other things. Yet you decided to go with this one. So how did you
Right.
knew about it?
It was natural. I think that you have to find a need. There was a need at that time for a good legitimate coach, right? People who needed money, they needed income, they were going through divorces, they were going through bankruptcies. These were people who were very vulnerable and they needed somebody who they could trust, who was trustworthy, confidential, who was creative, who was goal oriented. I had those things. So you always have to, and I talk about this in this workbook, inventory yourself. What do I have to offer today
Keep the
that
book
can
in the
help
other
me to meet?
hand and at the other side because your microphone is blocking the title when you show.
Oh,
Don't worry. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect.
so you have to inventory yourself. What's my need? What's my offering? What do I have to work with today? And what's the need in the world today? And it's really that basic. Today, not tomorrow. Today, how can I make a difference today in someone else's life? How can I help somebody? And with what I have to offer, don't try to like push outside of yourself and say, I'm going to be a software engineer because they make a lot of money and I want to buy a yacht. Come on, be real. You have needs today, roof over your head, food in your mouth, shoes on your kids' feet. You got to meet those needs and you'll do anything to meet those needs. Be real and practical, and keep it simple and work with what you got, because that's the basis of building your self-esteem and your self-confidence. And I wrote in this book, with the question, there's an essay in there, is the college degree right for me?
Yeah.
Maybe it's trade school. Plumbers in Paris make more monies than doctors. You know, you know what I mean? Trade school is amazing. Learning to build things, being a garbage man in San Diego, they sure do make a good life. So be
And I
honest with
assume you don't
yourself.
need a college degree to be a garbage man in San Diego or a plumber in Paris.
No, go to a trade school. Go find a good job. Do the most horrible thing you could do in your career is to betray yourself.
Yeah.
Be true to yourself and be real with yourself. Because the minute you're real with yourself, and you can be real with everyone else and say, look, being a doctor is not right for me. Going to a prestigious law school might not be right for you. I went to law school, but I didn't go to Harvard or Yale. I went to an online correspondence school. I walked out of there with no debt. I paid $20,000 for my degree, but I had to work for it. It's harder than an average law school. You have to be real with yourself. I did it because I didn't want to miss my children's childhood. I didn't want to be gone for 11 hours a day. So you have to be real with yourself about what you need. And if you don't take inventory, which is what this is all about, being true to yourself, it pays to be you, not somebody who you think you should be, but you. And if you can harness that, then you'll make the money. You'll have the happy life. You'll have the honest relationships. You'll have the fulfilling career. But you have to know yourself.
Perfectly described. Like, honestly, I have that kind of like a fourth question. If you have one example, what advice will it be? I don't think, I'm sure, probably you can do better, but that was like amazingly good. I agree with you
Yeah.
100%. And it was, I think, 5, maybe 6 years ago. Because I've always been in finance and accounting. That's what my profile from high school, from college, my master's degree, like that. I've always done. And I took this course, CCNA for Cisco. And when I was finished with it, I had this hardware architect or something. I don't remember the title, but it sounds pretty good, right? So I was working as that kind of an architect for about 4 months. And I hated it, every single hour of it. I've been in finance for 12 years. I love it every single day, even at a fiscal year when it's crazy. I love it. I love my job and what I do. But Lord, I hated that whole hardware thing. And this good, that's how you know a good friend of yours is like really good friend. We were out for a couple of drinks on there, and he was like, "You wanna go to another bar and see Tony?" Okay, I'm just using the name. And Tony was this guy I really, really didn't like. I'm like, why would I want to go see Tony? I don't like him. He don't like me either. He was like, yeah, but you look miserable, and Tony gonna love it, and I'm gonna laugh. I was like, man. So I quit my job. Then I knew he was right about it.
Because you didn't want to see Tony with the satisfaction smile.
He would have loved to see me like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a wake-up call, like when we get those wake-up calls, it's like, well, if my misery will put a smile on Tony's face, I need to change something.
Yeah. I think it was definitely, I quit definitely the same week, but I'm not sure if it was the same day because it's been so long ago. And to be honest, and I really wanna hear your thoughts about it, because every single time, deep down we do know what is for us and what's not.
Oh, yeah.
I think sometimes it's because we're kind of blinded by the ego. What do you think about it?
Well, ego is the concept of ourself. It's who we think we should be, right? And we have to realize that the ego is purely nothingness. I'm getting spiritual and metaphysical here and philosophical, but the ego is this concept of ourself. And then
Yeah.
there's the true concept of ourself. I talk about that actually. You raised that question. You don't even know, but I wrote about that in Engineering Your Mood. And it's about getting in touch with the
And
true.
this podcast is perfect for you.
I know. Feel like the person you want to be. And the person you want to be is the person you really are.
Yeah.
But it takes some time to dissolve the ego, to dissolve these images you think that you need to be. Do I need to have this job? Do I need to have this house? Do I need to have this car? Do I need to be married or not married? Or, do I need to look a certain way? These are all questions we all have subconsciously. Hardly anybody actually takes the time to do a real inventory, but we have all these ideas of who we think we should be that will make us happy. But the person we're always striving for to be is the person that we truly are and have always been. It's the most hilarious journey, because at the end of it you realize I am always who I wanted to be, and now I finally get to enjoy who I really am. Quirky, gay, straight, whatever. I have a brother who's like a hippie and who drives RVs and he builds tiny homes and he goes camping, but he's the coolest, most fascinating person. I just adore him. But when he finally allowed himself to just be himself, he found his peace, he found his happiness. And that's where I encourage people in all my readings that I offer and all my books is, are you brave enough? Are you courageous enough to let go of the concept of the self and finally allow your spirit to just be and to exist without fear that somehow being your natural, normal, spiritual, energetic self, that there's no danger in that, that it's safe to be yourself, that it's okay to be yourself. It pays to be you, that the world honors that. But we go through this period of going, well, no one's going to like me because I'm this. No one's going to like me because I'm that. And we have to let that go so we can finally be our true self, who we
Yeah,
are
because
always.
people don't like one another in general. They kind of okay when it's useful, but in general, people are messed up. And again, I'm not insulting anybody. You truly are wise beyond your ears, and I mean that says something for a 16-year-old. But
He's so funny.
I love when what you said, because if you've noticed people that are, and I've known some of them, people that are tremendously wealthy, like really doing well in life with the yachts and the hotels and everything, and they're like miserable. And that misery is exactly, I believe, from there. They know they're not supposed to be doing stuff because it's not the real self, yet they're doing it and they can't let it go because of that concept of the ego that you described so perfectly. The thing is that you can lie to everybody around you. You can be best actor already. You can just be a perfect liar. Problem is you can't lie to yourself and you can't
That's
just
right.
speak yourself.
Right.
And I think that's why people got those issues.
Well, I've coached people who are billionaires. I've coached people who are professional athletes, top of the top, creme de la creme of success, right? On paper, success on paper. And yet there is this lack of love.
Yeah.
And that for me is the root of all suffering, is this lack of love. But love and truth are one. Because
Yeah.
if you love someone, you're honest with someone. If you love yourself, you're honest with yourself. If you love the world, you're honest with the world. So because if there's a lack of love, there's a lack of truth, and you're not allowing yourself to express that love and that truth. And it goes back to, the persona, the ego, the concept of the self. And so you construct this because it's the most socially acceptable version of yourself. But eventually that fades away, and you have to. It's our spiritual, biological imperative to express our nature.
Yeah.
And we all have to confront this creation of ourself that we've created, good, bad, and indifferent. And so from what I've seen with coaching people, the most bravest thing you can do is to be honest, because that's when you're finally acting in love. Because when you are honest, you're acting in everyone's best interest, not just yourself. But that's courageous. It takes bravery because you don't know how people are going to respond to that. You have no idea. And you have to be brave enough to accept that.
I can guarantee you from personal experience that people respect that bravery. Even when we hear something that we don't like, deep down, you respect that. And I don't know how, and I'm an Orthodox Christian. I believe we were designed by God that way. But when you see somebody obviously fake, like obviously faking, like I'm telling you the truth with love, but you can just feel malice in the voice, right?
Right.
And then they complain about other people not lying when they said the truth. You didn't say the truth. You were being a jackass, and people understand that, and that's why. But definitely, and I have heard a lot of things, a lot of times, truths that I didn't saw for some reason, for many reasons.
Right.
And I really respected that person. I don't even know how to explain. It wasn't a feeling thing. That's why I probably shouldn't have said that I felt respect for it. But I don't know what other word can I use, but I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about.
Well, I wrote about that actually in Engineering Your Mood because the
By the
people
way,
say,
for the viewers, we did not have a prep talk.
no, no,
Don't do prep talks on this program. I have
no.
never.
You're seeing this for the first time. I talked about this in Engineering Your Mood, but people say the truth hurts. And I say, really? I challenge that because the truth dissolves illusions. The truth sets us free. And I always say, and I wrote about that in the book, and I say this with my clients, nothing feels as good as knowing that you were wrong, because then you're free of all the illusions, you're free of false assumptions, and you can act in truth. And from there, that's the foundation, that's the cornerstone of growth. And and I think that's the reason why I was so successful as the coach, was because I was brave enough to be honest with people. And sometimes it's tough love. You have to call people out on their BS, their selfishness, their self-centeredness, their greed, their envy. You have to call that out, but the purpose of it is to dispel it, to take away the power from the illusion, and to empower people to take the lenses off and to see things as they are. Because when you see things as they are, you realize all is well.
Yeah. One thing I disagree with you though about the truth. Truth hurts sometimes. I was in a terrible car accident about 17 years ago, and I woke up in a hospital, and doctor was like, "Well, son, your jaw is broken," and it hurt. It really did hurt a lot. But that is
the fact of the matter, yes. But the truth is that, you know what I mean? The truth is,
I was messing around with you, Leslie.
the fact of the matter is, yeah, we have to live in pain.
Yeah.
We have to learn from that pain, and we have to transcend that pain, right? So we all experience pain and hurt and suffering.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. I was messing around with you.
No, I think that's a good point. It's a good point to make, because we do experience all sorts of suffering, which makes us compassionate and empathetic with each other.
I couldn't agree more. And with that said, Leslie, please, please, please don't forget to send me all the links, social media, and the books, so that I can put it in the description below. And it was an absolute joy to speak with you. I should have you for round 2 sometimes.
Oh yeah, anytime. It's been fun.
Right on. Have a nice day.
Thank you. You too.
Guys, I hope this one was useful. Please follow the channel on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, Gap, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Ring the bell and all the good stuff. Have a nice week ahead, and I'll see you next Sunday.